Hey, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Well, this is video number 2 on the 4-inch blade series of my collection. And on this one, well, we're going to talk about some Benchmades. Benchmades, my favorite Benchmades. These are my Benchmades. I have 2 others of these. I have another one of this one and another one of this one, but they're the exact same thing, so we don't need to have those out here. The other ones, I got another one of these also, but we don't need to have that one out there. It's the exact same thing, the one that I didn't use. So let's get into these. Let's start off right here. These are the lightweight ones. This one right here is the Fact. Benchmade Fact. It's got 6061 aluminum handle scales with stainless steel liners, a deep carry pocket clip, a 4-inch spear point blade. I would call it more like a dagger stiletto style blade. It's made out of S30V. Juno's coming over here to join us. Want to get in the video, Juno? Huh? Want to get in the video? What you doing, kiddo? Thinking about it? You're sleeping, huh? That's my girl. It's an excellent little knife. It's one that I never really carried all that much because I just decided it was too small for me. I mean by too small, I'm not talking about blade length. It has a perfect blade length for what I call SDU EDC, Self-Defense Utility EDC. That's what I call my everyday carry knives. They have to meet that category. But I just felt like it was too narrow and too slim. I think it's more like a gentleman's carry tactical folder. You coming up here, sweetie? Huh? You want to come up there? All right. You can come say hi to everybody. I know you want to be in the video. That's my girl. That's my Juno. All right. You can go back to sleep now. I know you were over there sleeping. I saw you sleeping when I was setting up. Yeah, that's right. But when you hear the introduction, that's when you wake up, huh? That's my girl. All right, sweetie. Let's get down so we can do the video. We don't want to make it a real long one. All right. Like I said, video number 2, Benchmades. And the Fact, to me, is a very well-built folder. The blade thickness is about 2.85 or something like that millimeters. So it's a very thin blade stock. Very slicey, very stabby. It's the thinnest blade stock out of all these knives that are on the table. I think they made these with G10 too, or different types of handle scales. The one I have is a standard one. This is 6061 T6 aluminum handle scale, aircraft grade aluminum. Functions very nicely. Both thumb stud, reverse finger flick, and also thumb stud finger flick, regular thumb stud. I would highly recommend it. I think it's a good little knife. It's just not exactly my style, but that doesn't mean it's not your style. All right, that's that one. Let's go to the next one. This one right here is a collector's edition for me. It's number, let me wipe off the blade a little bit here. I think it says 117 out of 2500. 0117 it looks like, out of 2500. Greg Thompson design. These are excellent knives too. D2 on semi-stainless steel. So it's carbon steel, but it's considered semi-stainless blade. This one has a dagger style blade too. Dagger style, stiletto style blade, that's what we call it. I call this a tactical stiletto. Partially serrated. It's mostly a plain edge. It's not a 50-50 partial serration. Excellent knife. This one doesn't get used because it's a collector. The handle scales are called carbon fiber elite, which is like a polymer and carbon fiber mixed together. Very lightweight handle scales. The back spacer, I think, is carbon fiber elite. Also, it has a glass breaker in it with a deep carry pocket clip. These weigh right around 4 ounces. So it's very lightweight. The blade length is 4.5 inches. The blade thickness is like 3.1 or 3.2, 3.1 or 3.2, somewhere right around there. Excellent knife. This is the one I've carried. I carried this one when I first got it. I just totally fell in love with this knife when I first got this one. I have another one of these also that I never used. I never carried the partially serrated ones. I have 2 of these, but neither one of them I ever carried. But this is the one that I carried. D2 semi-stainless steel blade, dagger style blade. I call it dagger style. I think they call it a spear point. It can be either dagger or bayonet even, because it's got a flat back here where the thumb plate is. But I think that's the only reason why it has a flat, though, is because I had to have an opening mechanism on it, so they put it flat right there. Full stainless steel liners. This is a black clasp knife. That means it's designed for military and law enforcement. Carbon fiber elite. This is the one that, after 3 months, I broke the mega spring on this side. And I got some mega springs I found on eBay. They're probably from China. I don't know. I put a mega spring on it. Then after about another month, I broke the one on this side. Excuse me. Let me get a drink of water. So I replaced that in mega spring, and then I put my grease, Militech 1 gun grease with it's a lithium-based grease on both sides. And after that, I carried for like another 6 months straight. I didn't have any problems. So ever since then, all the mega spring knives that I carry have axis locks or axis style locks. I don't care if it's made by a different company or whatever. I always like to take them apart and lube the springs with grease. And since I've been doing that, I haven't had any problems with mega springs. This is an excellent knife. It's one of my favorite knives of all time. It's probably one of my favorite stilettos, period. This and a Tie-Lite 6. My 2 favorite stilettos, folding stilettos. I actually like this one a little bit more maybe because, well, I like the Tie-Lite because of the size and everything and all that kind of stuff. But I like this one a little bit more because it's easier for me to carry as an EDC folder, a self-defense utility EDC folder, because it's not too long. It's got a 4.5 inch blade and the weight is like right around 4 ounces. So it's very easy to carry. It's very narrow, doesn't really imprint in your pocket. And that carries fairly deeply in your pocket also with the black pocket clip, so it's not noticeable, especially if you're wearing black jeans. So it's like one of my favorite knives that's a stiletto style knife to actually carry all the time. The Tie-Lite 6 is only carry like on long motorcycle trips or in special occasions. This one I can carry to work. And because of its weight and size and its concealability, it's not noticed. It can go unnoticed very easily. Excellent knife, excellent knife, excellent knife. I love the SOCP series. And I really love that dagger. I really love the fixed blade dagger. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I guess it's like a bayonet, fixed blade bayonet dagger style blade. I love the way it's made. And I really would like to have one of those, but it's $400. So that's the only reason why I don't have one. Maybe after we get moved and I find a house or something like that, maybe I'll think about it, but that's a big expense for me for a fixed blade. I never spent that much on this fixed blade before. It's $400. That's a lot of money. To me, fixed blades shouldn't cost as much as folders. Reason being is that to me, it's harder to make a folder than it is a fixed blade. Because to make a folder, you have to get everything to fit right. You got everything to go together right and everything else like that. It's a lot more complicated, even if it's not a bigger knife than the fixed blade, than it is to make any size fixed blade. Unless you're doing something fancy like with Damascus steel or something like that. Something, that's really, really complicated as far as the steel is concerned. But to me, a fixed blade shouldn't cost as much as a folder. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I still love that one. I still love that new SOCP dagger that Benchmade's making. I think it's an awesome looking blade. Okay, these are lightest. Let's go to the second lightest, or the medium weight ones. Let's go to these. We'll save the heavyweights for last. This right here is the Contego. Contegos to me are my favorite Benchmade to carry if I want to carry a heavy duty Benchmade. Is the Contego. This one has the M4 steel. Like I said, I had two of these, one that I've never used. This one got used. You can see it has a polished edge on it. That's from me. Polishing it, resharpening it after using it. Absolutely love it. It's got G10 handle scales, full stainless steel liners. And I don't know if this is aluminum or stainless steel backspacer, but it's got a metal backspacer. I'll just say it's metal. It's either, I'm pretty sure it's probably a 6061 aluminum backspacer. But it could be stainless steel also. I'm not exactly sure on what this actually is. And it has a glass breaker. Jimping all the way around the knife. This one's got the, partially serrated blade. I would call this a reverse Tonto. And it's got sort of like a saber grind, because it has a flat right here, and then it goes flat to a flat ground. This one's M4 steel, and it's got a swedge right here. It's almost 4 millimeters thick. It's like a 3.9 millimeter thickness blade. This is a black class. I'm not sure if they make these anymore. I absolutely love it. This is one of my favorite all-time Benchmade knives. This is a Contego. I had the Contegos before I had the SOCPs. Excuse me, people. Excellent knife. Excellent knife. Highly recommend it. I don't think they make these anymore, though. I'm not sure if they make these anymore. That's somebody walking down the street listening to their boombox. Absolutely love this knife. And the finish that they use on these are Cerakote, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's Cerakote for all these coated blades. This one right up here, this is a Blade Works, we call it a Blade Works Special or exclusive. I think the word is exclusive that I'm looking for. And it came with G10 handle scales. They didn't put the glass breaker on it. And the blade steel is M390, deep carry pocket clip. Same thickness, everything else is pretty much the same as the original Contego. This one was never carried. M390. Beautiful knives. I love the Axis lock. Axis lock to me is a great lock. The only thing that's bad about it is that if you hit something really hard on an Axis lock on the butt handle of it, you possibly have the chance of bouncing the Axis lock down, and then it can fold in. And if these knives fold in on you, you're going to get cut. So don't ever hit the butt end of these. Other than that, it's not going to fail. Other than that, these are very strong locks. Even when Andrew Demko tested them against the Cold Steel Triad lock knives, it held a lot of weight. I think it was like 400 pounds or something. So it's a very strong knife lock. Getting tongue-tied there. Knife lock. Very safe lock. Thing is that you don't want it to fold in on your hand, so don't ever do something like this. Hit it like this, and because then the knife blade can fold in on you and cut you. That's my advice. Because all the Benchmade knives, they have the potential of doing that. One thing I don't like about Benchmade folders is that all their folders, they design them like that, where they're not safe if the knife lock fails. This one has skeletonized stainless steel liners. It's a beautiful knife. I can't remember if this one's skeletonized. Yep, they're both skeletonized. They're made the same way. Absolutely love it. Excellent knife, people. And this one is the same thing as this one, only it had blue G10 and black scales. And it's a KnifeWorks exclusive also that I customized by polishing it and putting aluminum scales on it that I got off a guy on eBay. He was selling aluminum scales. He was making and selling them. And he would send it to you. They came from Russia. And they were like unfinished aluminum, so I had to polish them to get them to be the way I wanted them to be. But you can tell the difference on the back spacers here. This one's not polished, this one's polished. I didn't do like a super high polish. I think I probably only went to like maybe 2,000 grit or 2,500 grit. I didn't go all the way to 3,000 grit. Get that mirror finish. Yeah, because it has a like a blurry finish. So I would say it's probably 2,000 grit that I went up to. And what happens when I do that sometimes is I don't have 3,000 grit sandpaper because it's kind of hard to get 3,000 grit sandpaper around here sometimes. Because the hardware stores ran out of it. And so then they don't have it. So sometimes you limit it to 2,000 grit or whatever. And once I do it, I probably just, most of the time I just leave things alone unless I have to repair something. And this one is, maybe next time I will go to 3,000 grit because I do have 3,000 grit sandpaper now. And I notice like there's a lot of little scratches in it, from pocket carry because this knife got carried a lot. Like I said, I had this one before I had these. And it was like one of my favorite knives to carry back in the day because I didn't have that many other knives that could open and close this easily. Most of my knives were cold steel knives. And so when I wanted to carry just a knife that was fun to fidget with, that would be one of my Axis lock knives I would carry. This one's super easy to open any kind of way. You can see it's a lot easier to open than the other one. Or you can just hold on to the Axis lock. You gotta time it right. So I get good grip on it. Excellent knife. Absolutely love it. One of my favorite all-time Benchmades is the Contego. All right, let's get into the heavyweights. The super duper heavyweights. And this one is like about 6 ounces. This one is like about 5.8 or 5.7 ounces. And I think this one is a little bit heavier. I think it's like 6.1 or 2 maybe. Can't remember. I think it's something like that. We'll weigh them out. And this is the tank. This one's like 7.8 or 8 ounces. It's got like a 4.1 millimeter blade. It's the D2 one. This is the original Adamas. All these knives are bushing knives. None of them have bearings. They all have phosphor bronze bushings. Benchmade does their phosphor bronze bushings, I think, better than anybody. Out of all the knives I've seen, when you take them apart, the way that they make these, they like embed them into the knife lots of time, into the knife scale. And it's like, they work perfectly. And they're really big and wide. Now, the thing I didn't like about this one, though, is why it's not one of my favorites. The Adamas series are excellent knives. I'm not putting them down or anything like that. This one's D2. The original one was D2. And it's the one that's been on YouTube a lot, holding tons of weight and being able to handle batoning and all sorts of stuff. Very tough knife. Even tougher than the new one. And it's also bigger and thicker and chunkier than the new one too. The blade stock's thicker. The new one has like a 3.6 millimeter blade. This one's like 4.1 or 2. And the width of the handle is, the thickness of the handle is a lot thicker too. The weight of it is a lot more too. So, you know, that's probably one reason why it's a lot more, you know, stronger and heavier duty than the new one. New one has crew wear though. This one's D2. New one has better steel. Personally, I like the new one better. Even though this one is the tank. This one's probably the toughest one. I think even this one, knowing that this one is D2, but the blade stock is a lot thicker. So I think it's probably just as tough as the crew wear one, because the crew wear one has a thinner blade stock. It's a really good knife. Feels really good in hand. It's just that for pocket carry, it's on the heavy side for me, and it's chunky. It imprints in my pocket, and it's just too chunky for me. But I think it's a really good knife, though. I know a lot of people like chunky knives, but you know, I think it's an excellent knife. I'm not putting it down at all. And it's got a saber flat ground blade with a fuller and a swedge in it. D2. Crew wear. One of my favorite new stills. Crew wear. I think crew wear is excellent for a heavy duty knife. Excellent blade steel choice. It's not stainless, but it's tough. It doesn't rust easily too, because my Spyderco crew wear knives, they don't have any sign of rust on them. And I've been carrying the mess out of the one that I have, the polished one that you guys have seen. Carry it all the time. Haven't had any issues with it. Almost seems like it's a stainless steel. But this one's coated, so so it's not gonna rust. Unless I shouldn't say that, because if you live in a real humid place or a place that there's a lot of moisture or salt air, if you live near the ocean, you might run into some issues or something like that. Where I live is pretty much like a dry climate, and I don't live near the ocean. I live inland, so I don't have none of those issues. Excellent knife. This is the one I like the best out of the Adamas series. I like the way it fits my hand. The weight is a good weight. It's like right around 6.5 ounces. The blade thickness is more along the par with what I like for blade thicknesses for a pocket knife. You know, I like in between 3.5 or even like 3.2 millimeters or right around there, all the way up to about 4 millimeters for a blade stock. When you start going over 4 millimeters, to me, it starts to be a little bit too thick for a pocket knife. And all what you're doing is just adding a lot of weight. So I think this one's a very well made knife. I think it's an excellent knife. Because you shouldn't be doing anything too super heavy duty with a pocket knife anyway. That's my opinion. I mean, if you want to do, like splitting wood and doing all that kind of stuff all the time, don't use a pocket knife for that. You get a fixed blade. Get a fixed blade that can handle it. Because not all fixed blades can handle that either. You need to get a proper fixed blade, carbon steel or Magna Cut, one of these new Magna Cuts or something like that. Something that's, a steel that's known to be tough and be able to handle things like abuse. This one fits my hand really nice. I just like the way it feels better. It's a little bit narrower and it's not too chunky, but it's still a little bit on the chunky side for me. So that's the reason why I didn't carry it. I carried it a few times and I thought it was a lot better than this one. The blade's made pretty much the same way. It's got a longer fuller, but it's still like a saber ground blade. It's got flat right here, then goes, then it's ground flat to the edge right here, with the swedge on it. So it's pretty much the same type of setup. The handle's very familiar. Just everything's a little bit smaller proportion, as far as like thickness of the blade, thickness of the handle. With Benchmade Adamas, this one, the new one, is the one I would pick over the old one. The new one to me is like way nicer than the old one. I know a lot of people like the old one. The old one's known for being tougher though. Being able to handle more abuse. All right, people. Well, let's weigh these out real quick. Let's see what the weights are. Benchmade Fact, the lightest weight one. 3.2 ounces. SOCP, 4.1 ounces. The one I always carried all the time without the serrations. 4.1 ounces. Benchmade Contego, one of my favorite all-time Benchmades. 5.9 ounces. It's a little bit lighter than I thought it was. G10, that's what it is, G10. 5.8 ounces for this one. This one doesn't have a glass breaker. I don't know if that makes a difference. But they both, other than that, they're both made pretty much the same way, except for they have different blade steels. This one's M390, and this one's M4. One with the aluminum scales is going to add a little bit more weight than G10. 6.0 ounces, so this is the heaviest one, the one I like the best. All right, now for the big mama jammas. Let's start off with this one first. 6.5 ounces, 6.5 ounces. And now for the heavy, heavy, heavy one. 7.8 ounces. Now, what's funny to me is that I didn't like this one because I don't want to say I didn't like it, but I don't prefer this one because it's too heavy, and I don't prefer this one because it's too light. Laurel and Hardy. If y'all know who Laurel and Hardy is, that's what makes me think of when I look at these two together. Laurel and Hardy, too fat and too skinny. All right, people. I know, probably a lot of y'all ain't gonna even get that one, but okay. Okay, let's see what the blade thicknesses are. Get zeroed out here. Blade thickness. 2.82. 3.9, or they're 3.14, 3.14, almost 3.2 millimeters. .95, almost 4 millimeters. 3.89, 3.90, almost 4 millimeters. These two are the same, they just have different handle scales on them. The nice Adamas one, I think is nice. 5.8, almost 3.6 millimeters. And the big Mama Jamma. 4.11, 4.12, somewhere around there. Blade length. All these are pretty much 4-inch blades, except for this one. This one's a 4.5-inch blade. 4.1 ounces with a 4.5-inch blade. That's awesome. This one, 3 3/3 of an inch. 3 3/4. 3 7/8. 3 7/8. 4 inches. I'm going to the tallest point of the blade, the handle too. 4 inches exactly. 4 inches exactly. Now, one thing we need to get is handle thickness on these two. You guys see what the difference is. Get zeroed out. I'm going to the thickest part of the looking part of the handle. 17.94 millimeters thick. 17.94 millimeters thick. The one I like better, 15.80. So it's a little bit over a millimeter difference. The Contegos, 13.67 millimeters. The exclusive, same thing. Aluminum one, this one should be thinner. 12.24. That's why I like this one. This doesn't imprint or anything. Do we do these? 12.16. Almost the same thing as Contego. 10.67. This one's the thinnest in the pocket. All right, people. That's it for these. We're done with the Benchmades. The next video, I think, is going to be some more cold steels. I will be releasing these at different times this next week. Different days, I mean. I released one for today. That'll be the first one I did today. This is the second one, so I'll probably release this one on Wednesday. You'll probably be able to see this one on Wednesday, and then I'll probably do another one today that I'll release on Saturday, because I have to work all next week, so I sort of want to do them all today on my day off. And then I'll do the same thing next Sunday. I'll do another 3, because I have a lot of 4-inch blades to do. So this is going to be a long series, the 4-inch blade series. And after this series, what's next? The medium-sized folders. So we got a couple months worth of videos going on here. And I plan on probably saving money for like the next 3 months. Save just about every penny I can to build up my bank accounts to get to the amount that the loan officer said I need to have in order to get a house. So that's what I got to do. My credit's good. He said my credit's good and everything like that. I just need more money. More money, more money, more money. Because I got to pay for a down payment. Because the houses that I'm looking at are pretty much like fixer-uppers. And VA probably doesn't like to loan money on fixer-uppers. And so, because I'm trying to get, as low as a price as I can get for a house. And so then my monthly payment's really low, and it makes my expenses really low, so I could just live off my retirement if I have to. You know, because I'm gonna be moving to another state, so that means I have to quit the job that I have here, and then start something else new over there. And so that means that I get a retirement. I'm a retired California person, California state worker, and so I can live off of that if I have to, for a little while anyway, until I find something else, another little gig that I can do to make extra money. But I'm definitely trying to move out of California, people. Definitely trying to move out of California. But anyway, this is video number 2. Video number 2. Video number 3, I'm going to go ahead and do that one today too, and you'll see all these during this next week. Peace. Stiletto.